Warning, the following program may contain harsh language that's not suitable for younger audiences. Discretion is advised.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
InTariVisions.
Atari, the fun is back.
It's the closest thing to the real thing.
Because your vision is our vision.
No other video game stacks up to Atari.
I hate this game on the Intellivision. It pisses me off.
What? How could anybody have a problem with the Intellivision version of anything?
Oh my god, it ranks right up over the Carnival.
I made a reference to Carnival in my notes.
Oh my gosh. I didn't think I'd find a game that would drive me as crazy as Carnival.
You'd think. And welcome to Mousetrap.
Holy crap. Oh, even gave it the episode number. Oh, thank you. Because you know me, I can't remember half the crap I do ever. All right,
guys.
What day is it? What pandemic are we in now? I don't even.
Okay. So, is everybody ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
I think so.
All righty. Welcome everyone to InTariVisions episode 24, Mousetrap. Cheese was the bait.
I heard that was true.
Yeah. So, we're one man down again. He's a busy guy, Mr. Nurmix, Paul. He's a busy man. But anyway, we do have Ferg, Master of Dough, from the Atari 2600 Game of Game podcast.
Hi.
He's never met a dough he hasn't liked.
That's right.
And we also have Mr. Rick Reynolds from the Intellivisionaries podcast. That's a holiday special podcast.
Yes.
He used to do a couple other podcasts, but, you know, he chucked me to the curb like an old worn sock.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
I don't hear from him anymore.
Glad to be aboard, Willie.
He doesn't write nothing.
No.
No?
No calls. No letters.
Nope. Nothing. Anyway. I had to listen to the Buckner Garcia Mousetrap music while I played the Intellivision version. I could not take it. We'll talk about that later, though.
Whoa, you're jumping ahead.
I'm sorry.
I listened to Yoko Ono while I was playing.
Yoko Ono.
Bjork, maybe?
Bjork. Jan Yorke. So, we'll start with Ferg. What have you been up to since the last time we recorded in this lovely pandemic of ours?
When was that? Was it May?
It wasn't too long ago.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't too long
Dig Dug, right? Oh, it was October. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Just basically working and trying to keep up with my own podcast. Not really much else. Well, I did Extra Life. I made a lot of money for Philadelphia Children's Hospital, so that worked out really well.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I made this. I was surprised because this year I think I made the most out of the 5 times I've done it. 4 times.
Wow.
I can't remember, but yeah. During the pandemic, I was really surprised.
Yeah,
so
I need to do that sometime. I'm just, I don't think I can make it 24 hours without being blind ass drunk on the floor.
Well, that's why I do 12-hour shifts, because I can't do it either.
Because you would also be blind ass drunk on the floor? Is that...
Yeah, pretty much.
I ought to do one where I'm playing all kinds of arcade games. That'd be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make any kind of interesting cookies lately, or any kind of special type of bread?
No, the pandemic's kind of got me down, so I haven't been really doing much of anything besides what I have to do. So, yeah.
So, Mr. Rick, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I did a half of a Extra Life day.
That's right.
I actually still owe the other 12 hours.
So when you paying up, buddy?
Yeah, well,
come on.
My plan was to do it in February, and I think that's left. So we're probably looking at March. So I did the 12 hours, and close to, I was planning to do it in 2 12-hour days as well, because last year when I did it, I mean, I literally got sick, and I couldn't keep going. So 2 12-hour days. Towards the end of the first day, things weren't as great in terms of the upload numbers from my house. And then the second morning, we couldn't stream. Like, YouTube kept telling me, you're not giving us enough data. And so we had to cancel, blah, blah, dug into it, and we ended up basically, after a few weeks of back and forth, they replaced a piece of equipment on the side of the house here from Verizon.
Oh.
So at this point, I should have much better reliability, assuming I reboot everything right before I start the stream. But it's decent now, so and it's been pretty reliable for things I've tried to do for testing and stuff. So hoping to do that second 12 hours sometime soon here in March. I managed to do that whole first 12 hours. I did nothing but Intellivision.
Wow, that's right, yeah.
Because it was, and most of it was a couple of homebrews. I played A Tale of Dragons and Swords.
Okay.
For hours, and got to the dragon and couldn't be the dragon.
Oh no!
This giant dragon on the screen. I mean, I know how these boss battles go. Usually, there's like a thing that's vulnerable, so you have to find it. And I went against this dragon. He had a hit points of 99, and I had the most powerful sword that I could get in the game. Blah 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 blah. I'm hitting him everywhere. Let's try his hands. Let's try his claws. Let's try his eyeball. Let's try his ears. Let's try his nose. Everything. It never dented. Well, those are off the screen. You can't find them.
Okay.
But it didn't even tick down from 99, his hit points. Didn't even come down 1. And I'm like, okay, there's something I'm totally missing here. But I did that, and I did beat TNT Cowboy, which is another homebrew for the Intellivision that's really fun.
Cool.
So those chewed up some hours, and they were fun games. They're really fun.
Well, so if you want to kill a lot of time on a live stream and get totally frustrated, play Dark Tower on the Vectrex. I went for an hour playing that game, one of my live streams. I never found the tower.
Yeah.
Aww.
That is it's a weird take on it, right? Because it's trying to, the board game, you just kind of move around. But in this, you're wandering around through, like, not quite an endless array of trees and areas and whatever another, and it's really hard to know what direction you're supposed to go in.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to look at the trees and determine where you're at on the map, because you have a certain amount of trees in one quadrant, a different type of trees in this quadrant, and that's how you know where you're at. I kept getting a bunch of mutant trees. I don't know what the hell they were.
Yeah, I've only played that a little bit. I've since bought it. I have the cart and the manual and all that stuff, so I might dig into it at some point. But when I played it before, it was just with the the ROM on the multi-cart, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, the ROM version is the prototype that it's in the same spot every time. I could play that one no problem. But the cart version that Sean Kelly put out, that has a updated version of Dark Tower on it that has a lot more stuff to it, and the tower is random. And right now it's in my sell pile. It's not going to hang around very long. I'm getting rid of that son of a gun. It pisses me off. But anyway, anything else going on?
Working, obviously. I work from home completely now. That's not a pandemic thing. That's a permanent thing. And so we kind of retrofitted one of the bedrooms here to be an office, and I've got that going on. I talk about this on other podcasts, but my boys are in Boy Scouts, and I'm one of the leaders, so I've been helping with that. I'm taking a bunch of Boy Scouts through the Programming Merit Badge right now.
Oh, nice. Cool!
That's awesome.
Oh, I like that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, anyway, I'm going through the COVID spread. I'm getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, it's more like it's not the COVID-19, it's more like the COVID-25 or 30.
Yeah. I'm on track to lose my left foot sometime in the future.
Oh.
Well, anyway, I've not been doing a whole lot myself, just working from house and making videos in the evening, that kind of stuff. The channel did get over 10,000 subscribers.
I saw that.
It only took like 10 years, but it finally got there. Well, I don't promote the channel hardly at all, so it's no wonder it's so slow. But I don't really care. It's just a hobby. It's an outlet for me to keep me calm. Anyway.
Yeah, but I think you're doing the right kind of thing. You're putting out a lot of content. Like, you're pretty consistent with new stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah,
and you're excited about it too. You're not negative like a lot of people are.
There's too much negativity. I don't like to be negative.
There is. You're right. Well, maybe we should stop the show right now.
Yeah, we can.
yeah, most definitely. But yeah, as part of the 10,000 subscriber level, I'm doing a giveaway, and I will be giving away either the My Arcade Space Invaders little bitty arcade that has the projection screen in it, like the arcade game does.
Wow.
Or I want to give away the Blaze Atari portable that has the SD card slot on the side. It also has 1,700 games on it as well, like Food Fight.
Nice.
Food Fight's on there.
Very nice.
So, yeah. So I haven't announced what the contest is going to be. I just announced the contest. So you have to go over to the YouTube channel community tab for Arcade USA to find out what's going on. But anyway, enough of that. How's your podcast going, Ferg? I didn't ask you.
It's fine. I've missed a couple Wednesdays, but I'm still on schedule.
At least you're sticking with it. I gave up, man. I chucked Colecovisions to the curb. I chucked some other ones to the curb. Rick chucked Space 1999 to the curb. He also chucked Vectrix Radio to the curb on me.
Oh, I did that, huh?
Right now, the only thing I got left is Toy Tube, and I'm kind of falling behind in that, too. My motivation is not very good anymore.
No, I know what you mean.
Hey, Willie, about Ferg's podcast, I just want to highlight that he finally covered the best game on the Atari 2600. He finally covered Gopher. And
oh, yeah, I saw that. I haven't listened to that episode yet, but I saw he covered that. He also covered Marauder, which I like Marauder.
Marauder is cool, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from here, though. I mean, after you get Gopher...
Oh, no, I'm waiting to get some of the bottom of the barrel stuff, man. I'll be all in on that. I like to write some nasty old feedback to send in. Dad, you smoking playing this game. What's wrong with you?
Well, I do have Space Shuttle coming up this year. Finally.
All right.
Wow, it's only been, 3, 4, 5 years?
Since I started it?
Yeah, since you said you were going to do Space Shuttle. I hear this all the time.
Well, I mean,
I'm doing Space Shuttle soon. Oh, another year's gone by. I'm doing Space Shuttle soon. Oh, another year's gone by. I've done 2 freaking videos on Space Shuttle. So has Phil. It's like, come on.
I'll make sure I check those out because I'm going to need a lot of help getting this one together.
Oh, I love Space Shuttle.
Is it a 35-page manual or something?
Yeah, mine's complete in the box. I got everything, the overlays, everything.
It's awesome. Richard Ground sent me a copy that was complete. I had one, but it didn't have the overlays in it, so now I have the overlays.
It adds to the ambiance to have those little overlays. Dude, I played this game for hours when it came out.
Did you?
I was all into it big time. Well, I'm a NASA buff to begin with. When the Perseverance landed on Mars, I was glued to my TV all day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
As an Intellivision owner, I can only say how much I approve of hearing of the Atari using overlays on something. That sounds great.
Shut the hell up, Rick.
Welcome to the We'll Talk About Anything to Avoid Talking About Mousetrap podcast.
Well, pretty much. But I guess we got to get this torture on. So, Ferg, let's start off with the arcade game. Take it away.
Mousetrap is an arcade game made by Exidy in 1981. It's a maze game where you play as a mouse head running through a maze eating cheese wedges while avoiding 6 cats that patrol the maze. Off of the corners of the maze are dog bones, each of which gives you a chance to turn into a dog and eat the cats by pressing the dog button. The eaten cats will return to the maze and then move faster. There are also 3 sets of color-coded doors throughout the maze, red, blue, and yellow, or white. The game has 3 buttons that are the same colors, which can be pressed to open or close those particular colored doors in order to try and avoid the cats. Another way of avoiding the cats is the indoor in the center of the maze. Entering the indoor will transport your mouse head randomly to one of the 4 corners of the maze. Besides the cats, a hawk will occasionally fly over the maze, ignoring the maze walls entirely, and you have to avoid the hawk as well because the hawk can eat you as a mouse or a dog. If you can make it to the indoor, the hawk will give up and fly away. Actually, I think what it said was he'll kind of fly weird and then fly away.
You'll get confused.
Yeah.
Like me on
Besides,
Absinthe.
yeah. Besides the small cheese wedges, there are prizes in the maze. Unlike Pac-Man, these are always present in the maze and will reappear if you lose a life during a level. There are 32 prizes in all. They start with a large wedge of cheese, of course, and include a key, candlestick, glasses, telephone handset, and many others. Once you get through all 32 prizes, it starts back at the beginning. Mousetrap was only ported to the 2600 Intellivision and Colecovision, which is why we're doing it today. Not everything from the arcade game made it into these ports. Well, I probably should say the 2600. But the Colecovision came closest to implementing all the features, which I think is wrong now because I didn't realize that the Hawk was also in the Intellivision version.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
There's not a lot of historical info for Mousetrap, most likely due to the fact that it wasn't very successful. I found an article in the June '83 issue of Electronic Games where Exidy marketing director Lila Zinter said that because Exidy had less money than Atari, it was more difficult to get their games in front of the public. And the article also states that Mousetrap was seen as a Pac-Man ripoff by arcade operators and distributors and was basically dismissed for this reason.
Now, wait a minute. How can it be a Pac-Man? It's a maze game, yeah, but it's got a lot of different features in there that Pac-Man doesn't have.
Well, I mean, it does, but I guess if you're looking at it at first glance, if you get like an arcade flyer like in the mail or something, and you look at it, you see it looks kind of like Pac-Man, because it does. It looks like it, but you're not really getting all the features of it if you're not playing it.
Okay.
So maybe that's why they passed on it.
We've got to discuss the rules of this arcade game, because I have questions.
Okay.
Why? Okay, I understand that the mouse eats the cheese wedges. Why the heck would you want to eat glasses and a candlestick? Why not make it different things of food, like, a slice of bread or things like... No, Mr. Mouse would eat a candlestick. Okay.
That's true, because I think the prizes in Ladybug were all food, right?
Yeah.
I think was Ladybug out after this or before this? I think it was after, right?
I can only assume it's taking a page from Pac-Man with, Pac-Man's getting Galaxians, and he's getting bells, and he's getting keys, and all kinds of stuff once you get up past the fruit.
But in
is that Pac-Man or is it Miss Pac-Man?
Not Pac-Man.
Is it Pac-Man? Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. He has a weird diet, too. I bet he has
I don't think I've ever got that far in Pac-Man.
I bet he has a high A1C as well. Anyway. What are in these dog bones that cause you to turn into a dog?
Yeah, why are you eating bones to begin with?
I haven't figured that gameplay mechanic out. And, now wait a minute, it says when you're in a dog, you can eat the cats, but yet the cats come back. So, why are they still... How come they're not brown cats when they come back? Well, they gotta come out the other end. They go in one side, out the other side. So they should be brown, to let you know. And they should have a slower speed because, they're weighted down from all the crap on them. I'm trying to induce some more gameplay. Make it a little more interesting. Did you notice when Mousetrap starts, it kind of reminds you of Winky and Adventure, how he runs down around the screen to the bottom?
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah.
I just noticed that recently. I never noticed it before. I was like, that looks like Winky. I wonder if he turned into a mouse.
That was Exidy too. Yeah.
I think the wizard got him in terms of a mouse. That's how come he got that game.
Now, am I dreaming or whatever? Are some of the sounds in Mousetrap reminiscent of some of the sounds in
Venture?
In Venture?
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It does sound familiar. Yeah. That's kind of interesting. It's like they took some elements of Venture and stuck it into Mousetrap.
Yeah. Exidy always had good sound, though, I think.
You can see the guys at Exidy around the design table sitting there going, "Yeah, man, we'll make Winky a mouse." Yeah, man.
Not just a mouse, though, dude.
A mouse that turns into a dog. Oh, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, this also reminded me, just in terms of the theme of Cat Tracks,
Oh, yeah.
In Cat Tracks, the mouse turns into a dog catcher van, so I think
No, that's the Transformer version.
Oh.
Mouseformers, more than meets the cheese. Anyway, when was the first time you saw the arcade game, Ferg? Or if you've seen it?
I'm pretty sure I did see it when I was a kid, and I may have played it once or twice, but for me, there's way too many fucking buttons on this thing.
Coordination is the key.
Yes. I was not a button guy back then. I loved Asteroids, but I was terrible at it because there's too many buttons. Defender I didn't even bother with because I played it like once or twice, and I was dead in 10 seconds or so. So
you're telling me you're a joystick kind of guy, huh?
Oh yeah, I love playing with my joystick. You know that.
Oh yeah.
How about you, Rick?
I couldn't tell you when or where, because that's my brain. But I do have fond memories of playing this game. I think I played Mousetrap a good deal in the arcades.
Wow.
And but it had this kind of feel, and I noticed this in at least one of the ports. I think I noticed it in all three of them, actually. But your mouse is actually pretty fast as you move around, and the cats are relatively slow comparatively.
Yes.
And in the arcade,
first.
Yeah. So a lot of it, as I remember gameplay on the arcade machine, moving the mouse, head around, get someplace, look down at the panel, hit the button to move open the color door, then look back at the screen, move around, and look down. And it was always like run, stop, open doors, run, stop, open doors. So it had that kind of a weird pacing issue to it in terms of the gameplay, at least for me. I mean, I'm sure there are people that get good at it and have all these reflexes and stuff. But the thing that makes Mousetrap, I think, super cool from my perspective, is I remember thinking that it was like Pac-Man, but I get to save up my energizers. I get to bank them and use them when I want to. Yes. And to me, that made this game really attractive. I think I played this a good deal. I just had a hard time with the doors. That was kind of a thing that made it tough. But if you remember the control panel in the arcade game, the 3 door buttons are smaller, and there's this big, fat, green dog button.
Yep.
So it's super easy to smack that dog button and turn into a dog, in a moment of panic or whatever. And it was the doors that required the dexterity and the to me pausing almost the game to look down and do things. And so, just coming to this game as a home port, I think it's a tough port regardless. For systems of this era, where the Atari controls have issues. We'll talk about the Intellivision and the Colecovision. You're having to look down at your controller a good deal, or at least side-eye it or something like that to get your finger in the right place to control all these things. It's just too many buttons to for Ferg's point there. For these older platforms, like it wouldn't be out of place today in like a PS3 or a PS4 controller that gives you 4-action control on your right thumb, but for these older platforms, I think no matter what, it's going to be an awkward fit. And I think even the best version of the game on these 3 platforms is still a bit of an awkward fit.
Yeah, I agree with that. The first time I saw the arcade game was in a downstairs arcade that was off of Wabash Avenue and 4th Avenue. Used to be an old, what was the name of that store? A Schultz toy store and a department store.
Wow.
And it was a downstairs arcade. It had the black lights and all the the 80s music going on. It was a great place to go to. And I remember walking into that arcade and seeing it, down in there. I gave it a try. Did terrible at it because I'm uncoordinated as all get out. I watched this other guy play. He was an older guy. And he must have had all those buttons memorized because he was flying around that maze and making doors open and close before the mouse got there without looking. I was just totally amazed with that. The only way I can do that is if I had my buddy at the man the doors and I just controlled the mouse. His job was to control the doors and give me a clear path. That's the only way I could do that.
I can see the two of you. Red, blue,
great, dog. But yeah, it's a fun arcade game. It's not what I go to a lot. It's a lot of fun to try to play in MAME. You can assign keys on your keyboard and stuff like that. But you still got to remember what key does what. So
yeah. Yep.
So we're going to start off with the Atari 2600 version, which is Mr. Ferg, starting off with the packaging art.
Well, this is your usual Coleco red box, and there were two... Three. Well, there were two of the Coleco.
Oh.
The one that has the little arcade art on the front, and one that doesn't. It says plays like the real arcade game. I think that was the first issue, and the second one had the little mouse standing on the wheel of cheese.
Yeah, that's
with
what I got.
Oh, that's a dog bone in his hand. Huh? I was wondering what that was.
Dog bone.
They always showed the Coleco always showed the arcade cabinets because most of the Coleco ports to Atari were arcade games.
Yep.
And then in the late 80s, Atari bought the rights to a bunch of Coleco games. What else was there? I think Turbo was actually in the part list, but it never came out for Coleco, so I'm not sure why it was in the part list for Atari. I know that the Donkey Kong art was redrawn. That was also put out by Atari in the late 80s, so I'm assuming this one... I don't think this matches any of the art on the cabinet. It doesn't look like it from the Coleco box.
No.
It doesn't... It just doesn't look like an Atari art. You know, it's very cartoony or fantasy, whatever you want to call it. It just... I don't know. I don't like it. I like that Coleco box better.
Yeah, it looks like the artist was drunk.
Yeah.
It's awful squiggly.
Is that going to be the theme of the show?
It might be.
Squiggly.
Let me take another hit of this. Let me take another hit of my. What I have here? Peach brandy. That's what it is.
Oh, here we go.
They all have the arcade logo on them, though. So all three of them.
Sorry, Ferg. That comment fell on his face. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
Well, of the three, I like the Coleco box that has a little mouse standing on the wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
That's my favorite box for you. That's the one I've got here in my collection. I love that one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. How about you, Rick? Which one of these do you kind of like?
You know, I was looking at these, and just first glance, I thought that the Atari one was just transporting the same mouse. But it's drawn differently. He's not the same. And I do see what you're saying in terms of the if you compare them side to side, it does look a little chunkier, a little sloppier, a little something or other. Something's not quite right there. But I still think I like the Atari one, just because I don't know. I feel like the Coleco box is showing the arcade machine. Like, I know why they did it, because hey, you're bringing the arcade home, and that's all we wanted to do back then. And I get the marketing value of that. But to me, they all start looking the same. It's like, oh, look, it's a box with an arcade cabinet on it. Oh,
yeah.
So I think I like when they branch out and do something a little different, even if it looks a little funky.
So he
Fair
likes
enough.
the drunken artist box. That's all.
Give me the drunken one. That sounds better.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, Mr. Rick, let's talk about the Intellivision box.
Yeah, so you got yourself a blue Coleco box with the nice pink sash there. You know, Miss Intellivision has her sash wearing there with the across the box video cartridge for use for Intellivision. And a lot of those, not on this particular capture here, it shows for use for Intellivision, Master Component, Sears Super Video Arcade. A lot of them will say and Intellivision 2, and then they'll put the sticker on it, not for use with Intellivision 2.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we've referenced this many times on the show, but like this is one of the, I think it's 5 games on the Intellivision that won't run on the Intellivision 2 stock because of what Mattel was doing with a little bit of a check thing they did in the header of the ROMs to keep third-party programs from running, and they basically just bit Coleco. Is basically how that works. The other third-party publishers didn't seem to have a problem. So yeah, this particular one has that sticker on it because Mousetrap in its basic form will not run on Intellivision 2. If you care to run it on Intellivision 2, there are hacked versions of these ROMs out there that have the header fixed so that you can it'll run on that hardware. You don't want to, though. We'll get to that later.
Well, that means you can have a multi-cart then.
Yeah,
That's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah. So this box, it's got the arcade cabinet on it, right? I very much, my brain associates the Coleco titles with this blue background and the pink sash, and they all kind of have that look to them. So nothing particularly unique there, just the arcade cabinet background. But I have to comment about the back of the box. This screenshot that's on this box is not even close to what the Intellivision box looks like. I have no idea what's going on there. They definitely grabbed that. It's not from the Atari box. I don't know where this came from. So.
Well, it's from that guy that drew that Atari box, man.
Yeah, this is obviously some kind of artwork pre-finishing of the game or whatever. Another, they got it to the art department. Yeah, because it's not at all. I mean, this looks more like what you would expect the 2600 style graphics to look like in terms of thickness of the walls and this and that and the other. But yeah, the Intellivision screen looks nothing like this, and the Atari screen doesn't really look like this either. So it's just kind of an odd looking thing.
It is weird, yeah.
What do you think of the box, Ferg?
It's all right. With the Coleco, I always prefer the ColecoVision version because it has a black background on it. But yeah, that screenshot is nuts. I wish the Intellivision one looked like that and filled up the entire screen like that.
Yes. Well.
Yeah, this box I'm not too thrilled about. It's kind of. I do like the overlay that they included with the game, though. The overlay. It does.
Nice. Yes, the overlay is good. It does look better than the Coleco one.
We're going to talk more about that when we get to gameplay, though.
Yeah.
So now, I'm going to talk about the ColecoVision box. It's like the Atari box, but black and gray.
Yep.
With the arcade game on the front. It's got the nice little mousetrap arcade marquee font at the top. I always have liked the Coleco boxes, how they display their games for the ColecoVision. For the arcade ports. I get a big kick out of that. Of course, on the back it has a semi-accurate screenshot of the game, which is nice. That's cool.
Yep.
And the overlay is not as good as the Intellivision one because it doesn't have the logo and stuff on it.
Yeah, that was weird.
But it does have nice, large keys to press.
Yeah.
Like that other machine that shall not be named.
I feel like you already named it. It's okay.
So, what do you think of the ColecoVision box, Ferg?
Well, like I said, these are always my favorite because they're all the Coleco boxes are the same, just different colors, and I do like the colors on this one. And the big, what's that graphic called? Not explosion.
Starburst.
Starburst, yeah. I always like the Starburst. Whenever there's a Starburst, I like that.
Yeah, that gets me excited.
What's that?
It gets me excited.
It does. Yeah.
High resolution video cartridge for ColecoVision. That's what goes in my head when I see that.
And I really enjoyed the tiny 5 on the dog's nose.
What?
On the tiny 5 on the dog's nose on the overlay.
Oh, 5. I said fly. I was like, what?
Oh, sorry.
What fly?
But otherwise, the overlay is very plain looking.
Yeah, it's kind of plain. What the hell are you smoking, Coleco?
But I do like that they have that little tab. I don't have any Intellivision overlays myself, but this one, I had a mousetrap one that came with the cart, which I didn't realize when I bought it. So I do like the little tab that's easy to pull out.
Yeah, that makes it pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, Rick, how about you? What say you?
Yeah, the Coleco boxes are in my brain. They're all kind of the same, different color schemes. I think I can get on board with Ferg there and sort of the black background, calling it out a little bit better than the blue and the red. So yeah, that's cool. And I think the overlay, while it is much more plain, to me it has a more modern look. It looks like modern OSs where they have these like larger targets for your mouse to click on and stuff like that with these pastel colors behind them and stuff. It kind of reminds me of like a Windows 10 interface kind of thing with the big square things to click on if you had a mouse on it or something. Hey, can I go back to the Intellivision box real quick to mention something that I forgot?
Yeah, that's fine.
So Mousetrap and Coleco Box is particular released overseas with like CBS.
Oh yeah.
And they had different boxes. So there's actually I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, at least 4 or 5 different variations of the Mousetrap box that are semi-interesting. In particular, Intellivision Revolution released they didn't change the ROM at all. They just released another version of the box that's pretty crazy looking. I don't know if I can drop it if I can get a hold of it and drop it in a chat for you guys to look at or something. But it was just kind of. It's just kind of wild. This game, for whatever reason, on Intellivision has gotten a lot of different releases and a lot of different boxes. Let me see if I can get this in here for you guys.
Oh, I would have known because they're not in the notes.
Sorry.
I'm joking.
I didn't have a PAL in television, so.
So, well, let's talk about graphics. We'll start off with the Atari 2600, Mr. Ferg.
Okay, so you got your standard video wafers here instead of cheese wedges. You got your 5 video wafers instead of the bones. I do like the mouse head. The mouse head looks really good. I like the gray color of it for some reason. That really struck me. The cats, actually, if they're moving up, they turn around instead of just going straight, which is very nice. But otherwise, this game isn't much to look at. And you can see on the screen that the doors are all one color, and they don't show up because they flicker in the game, so they don't show up in the picture. So whenever you press the button or hold down the button, all the doors move, and that, when we get to gameplay, will also be a problem.
Oh, yeah.
But it's really not much to look at, unfortunately.
Well, consider it's on the 2600. It's not bad for
it's
a 2600 game. You know, I particularly like how the little tails kind of wag on the cats.
You know what? I did not even notice that.
Yeah, they kind of wiggle when they're standing there and stuff. Yeah.
The pictures, they're different. That is pretty cool.
Kind of like that. I like how when you turn into the dog, it turns red, and it looks like he has like an M for a mouth.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of these graphics, Rick? Yeah,
I was actually pretty impressed in sort of like half and half. Like I really liked the sprites are animated, like they move, and as they move around, and even when they're sitting still or whatever, which reflects pretty well the arcade game. The arcade game had the mouth on the mouse kind of moving a little bit, even when he's sitting still, that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really well done. I thought the dog and the mouse looked like the dog and the mouse, more or less. The cats have pretty big heads, but it's an Atari 2600. What are you going to? The thing that had me kind of going, I wonder what this was about, was the dog bones, or these giant X's, that are made of the same wafers, if you will, that are standing in for the cheese wedges. But that to me seemed like, wow, I wonder if they could have polished that up and made that look a little better, because I thought the animated, the actors, if you will, the dog, the mouse, the cats, they all look pretty good. The maze is blocky and what you'd expect from a 2600 maze game. The maze makes it look chunky for sure, chunkier than and maybe that's what grabs you when you start looking at it. But if you look at the sprites and stuff, I was actually pretty impressed with them.
All right,
awesome, dude. Look at this box in the chat.
Yeah, that's
the CPS Electronics box. Is that the one from Intellivision Revolution?
Yeah, exactly. They did a reissue just.
Oh my God!
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Sheesh. So there was no update to the game at all. It was just another collector thing. So
another collector thing. That's funny.
That mouse is ripped.
Yeah. Yes, man. Holy cow.
Listeners, if you want to check this out, you can find all these kind of variants and stuff over at intvfunhouse.com. Just look up the game, and he's got all the different boxes there.
The more you know.
Da, 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 da.
All right, Mr. Rick, let's talk about the Intellivision graphics.
Oh, you didn't say about the Atari.
What do you mean about sorry?
You
didn't say anything about the Atari.
I did. I said I kind of like how it looks. I like how their tails wag.
Okay.
All right.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's all he had. So. All right. So the Intellivision version. I wrote down in a sarcastic tone on my paper, nice title screen. So, they just put the text up there. White on black. Couldn't even put color on it. It's amazing. The Intellivision, so they squashed the maze over onto the left portion, and they put status things in a kind of gutter on the right, a very wide gutter on the right. And if you know anything about the way the Intellivision is laid out graphically, they're doing this because the Intellivision has a tiled background, and basically every square in the maze is one tile. That's what they decided to do. And so that makes the math a little easier in terms of moving around the different tile sets and stuff, instead of doing, instead of having a square of the maze that crosses over a tile and a half or something like that, they just shrunk it all down into one tile apiece. And so that really makes the maze feel cramped on the screen. It makes it look. It doesn't look bad overall, I think, but it's just so cramped that you're kind of like, ugh. I think the cats look pretty decent. The mouse and the dog look pretty decent, I thought, overall. And the dog bones, they look more like dog bones, and and they have a different color that can stand out because, again, they're a tile. Like everything in this is a tile, so a single tile can have a single color, and so they can make a different color from the maze and the cheese wedges and all that stuff. So I can kind of appreciate the effort. I just feel like there was some. It's really hard to criticize this stuff and to say it's lazy programming because it's not really, but the math would have been harder. To draw this background wider across the screen to having fractional tiles and stuff like that, right? But you can do it. It's not, I lost Billy. Sorry. So the end result is, I think the game looks decent, but it's too small. It feels like you're playing on a postage stamp.
Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it. I do like how they represent the little dots you eat. They got little chevrons. I kind of like that.
Yeah, they look a little more.
It looks more. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah.
And the mouse definitely looks happy. He's a little bit better rendered.
Yes, I agree.
So that's all I got on it. How about you, Ferg?
I like the sprites. I like the red frog in the upper right corner there.
A frog. It does look like a frog.
It's actually the cheese, I think. I didn't realize when I was playing the game that it spells in the middle there. I thought I couldn't read it, but now I'm reading it and it says in.
Oh, there it is.
I couldn't read it on the game I was playing. But yeah, like Rick said, the cheese wedges look good. I don't know why they made the maze yellow instead of green, because you have a yellow door, and they didn't bother to change it on the overlay. So you have to press the yellow button to open the white door.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure about that.
That's kind of confusing.
It is.
And it's not like the Intellivision doesn't have a green color. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, I pushed the yellow button, but the white door opens? Wait a minute here.
Yeah. Now, the cats are halfway to green, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But this has more stuff than the Atari one does, so... I mean, you got the indoor, the things on the outside. Yeah. Or should we wait till we get the gameplay for that?
Gameplay.
Okay.
So, the Colecovision graphics. At least mine has Colecovision in color on the first screen.
Yeah, but you gotta wait 12 seconds for it.
But I gotta wait 12 seconds
That's true.
to play the game.
For an hour.
But, on my graphics, it sits in the middle of the screen, right?
Centering technology. It was hard to do.
And I got a green maze, too. And you can read the end. And the doors are the right color.
Yeah.
No frogs.
And the bones do look like bones. And the keys look like keys. Cheese looks like cheese.
Well,
the snozberries taste like snozberries.
I'm not going to give you the bones. I think they
oh,
look like
come on.
The Chiefs wedges look really good, but no, the bones just look like a red X to me.
Oh, man.
But that key is really nice. The old style key.
I like the key.
On this screenshot that we're looking at.
Some good stuff there. Now, I like how the cat's facial expressions change when you catch them.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they
frown. He's frowning. Yeah.
Yeah, he frowns. Well, it does show one frowning here. I don't know why, unless he's pooping that dog biscuit out or something. But
he's looking for his kitty litter somewhere.
And I don't know why the dog is so unhappy in this screenshot. No, he should be happy. He's going after the cats.
That's true.
So it's kind of strange. Obviously,
maybe he's getting ready to change back. To a mouse. Maybe
that's true. That could be what's going on.
He's a mean dog.
So what do you think about these graphics, Rick?
Oh yeah, this looks so much better than either of the two so far. If you know the game, right? If you know you're pulling a mouse, this looks like Mousetrap.
Yes.
The other two, you could look at it and wink a little and go, I think they're doing Mousetrap, but like this one looks like Mousetrap. I love the detail of some of the doors that are kind of like curved at the corner.
Yes, I was going to say that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's they took the time to do that right. So obviously they have better resolution to play with here with the Coleco hardware, and they use it to good effect. It's well done.
Awesome. How about you, Ferg?
Yeah, I like all the sprites. They look really good, except for the red X, of course. And the indoor is really more well-defined than it is in the Intellivision version. And like Rick said, I like the doors that curve. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a hinge or something, but I think it looks really good.
Have you ever seen one of those Alpo bones, man? They're big.
The what?
The Alpo bones. They're big like that.
I haven't.
So now, it's gameplay and sound time, starting with the 2600. Mr. Ferg.
All right. So, like I said, in the Atari version, there's very minimal sound. I like the cat sound, though, it just makes the same sound when it kills you or when you kill it. And I mentioned the mouse color. I had a lot of trouble reversing if I was in a straightaway. I think it was mostly left and right. When I was going to one, if I was going to the right and then I tried to go back to the left, it took a while. It kept going to the right a little bit and then switched back.
Yeah, I'll talk about that.
Okay. There's no bonuses in this game. There's no hawk, no indoor. Only 3 cats instead of 6. Maze is a lot simpler. Okay, let's talk about the controls here. Like I said before, there's only one colored door. They all open or shut, but you have to hold down the button to do this. And if you press the button quick, that's when you get the dog. I don't know how many times I tried pressing one and got the other result. So it's just really hard to play that way, If you're expecting one result and you get a different one, and you're in the heat of a moment, and you can't necessarily hold down the button or press the button really quick while you're trying to get away from a cat.
Yep.
So I died a lot. And I don't like the scoring in this game. I'm not sure why, when they started porting arcade games, they made the scores not match what the arcade scores were. I mean, they eventually caught up to that, but it's just really a low scoring game.
Yes, it is. Makes you think you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
How about you, Rick? What do you think of the gameplay and the sound?
So minimal sounds, right? I was playing it and I wasn't sure if I had my sound turned on for a while. Like, I think it should be making some sounds here. Ferg already mentioned lack of in and hawk and prizes and all that kind of stuff. I think that the cats are too slow and dumb in with the skill level, or what it was called. Sorry, Ferg, I forget the terms on the Atari. When they're both set to B, which is how I play most of the games on the Atari. Like, I go with the beginner as opposed to advanced.
Yeah. And, that's right.
And so I did look this up in the manual. The left one controls, I think, the intelligence of the cats, and the right one controls the speed. And if you set them both to B, they're just too slow and dumb. Like I felt like frustratingly dumb at times. Like they would be like just moving back and forth.
Yes.
Across like the last dot that I have to clear the screen, and I'm moving around and trying to get them to follow me, and they're just going back and forth and back and forth.
They're not dumb. They're guarding that last dot.
Yeah,
from you.
I guess. It was really kind of frustrating at that point because I found with the two skill level things set to B, I found it to be a pretty easy game. I was moving around very quickly, was able to clear a lot of boards. And the problem I would run into would be controls. I would run in, I'd overshoot the block, or I would hit the dog instead of the door, or the door instead of the dog. That happened a lot to me as well. It's very clear, if you're following what's going on here, that the mouse is moving from square to square as he moves around this maze. You don't have, like, analog control and just to position the mouse wherever you want to. You're positioning the mouse in a square. And so if you overshoot in one direction, he's going to go all the way to the center of the next square before he returns.
Yep.
Trying to do a kind of a duck move or something like that to try to fake the cat out. So that makes it really hard to do things like I wanted to get the cat to follow me, but I can't dare get too close because I'm going to move an entire block before I and stuff. Yeah, I really hated the single button control that you suffer with in this game with the dog and the doors. That, however, didn't bite me nearly as much as the dog changing back to mouse time.
It's fast, isn't it?
It's fast, and I don't feel it's well displayed. Like, I don't get a good feedback that it's almost over. And I don't know how many lives I lost because I was attacking a cat. And I turned the mouse, and you freeze. It makes the same sound where it gets you, and I'd be like, yes! Oh, no. Starts over. Yeah, so because the way the AI, at least, so I try to play a little bit with a smarter AI, but I couldn't notice much of a difference, and I kind of went back because I figured, we're doing the scores for this show with them both set to B. Yeah. So, because the way the AI is, you can't herd the cats, it's like herding cats. You can't group them, like you can in Pac-Man, and it's so like. The Pac-Man instincts in me want to collect them together, get them all close together, then pounce on them with the dog button. Yeah. But you just can't do that. The dog button is just there to get you one, maybe two cats. And I'm sure there are ways you can get through all three if you trap them and do this and that. But, like, just in general gameplay, I could never get them grouped together to do something that would feel like, all right, I've done something awesome. I've scored a super combo here. I could never get that going just because the way the cat kind of, I don't know, they're kind of spastic or something, the way they're just wandering around them, kind of like not paying attention.
You've heard the term, like, rounding up cats, so...
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I noticed is you get 4 bones, and that's it, man. If you start, you can't accumulate more. So, like, if you got 4 bones, and you eat another bone, that was a waste, because it's not in your backlog.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
I was trying to bank a lot of bones, right? Well, so what that means is for the Atari version, your best bet is when you've got 4 bones, just start using them. Use it, eat a cat, go eat another bone to put it back, and you're just kind of replenishing this 4-bone capacity. That is not like the other ports, and I didn't compare it to the arcade. I'm not sure how the arcade handles this, but it's a low max, let's say, before you're filled up with the bones. And to me, that made my strategy be to where I ended up using them a lot more, using them in cases where I'm like, well, I could get around this cat, or I could just use up one of the bones because it doesn't matter. There's a bone right over there I'm going to eat, and I can't eat it and bank it, so I might as well just use one.
That's a good point.
So that changed the gameplay for me a little bit as I was playing as well.
Well, we'll just say that's a gameplay feature.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a distinctive of the Atari version for sure.
Yeah, like you guys, I had a hard time trying to keep from turning into a dog and opening doors. And I would lose lives right and left with a cat right behind me trying to open a door with that delay.
Yep.
It's very aggravating. Now, one of the strategies I would do on this game is I would try to get get the cats trapped in the center, as many as I could, and then start running around the maze. But that doesn't work too well for me.
Yeah, you say that, Willie. I remember I had many cases where I could get 2 of the 3 cats trapped in the center. And then, just go and clear the rest of the board while you can. Because you can avoid 1 cat pretty easily.
Oh, yeah. 1 cat's easy to avoid. But the gameplay, I think, is okay except for the dog and the door button. That, I didn't care. I don't think there's any other way that they could possibly do it.
No.
It's amazing that they're able to get these games that have multiple buttons down to 4 ways on a stick and 1 single button.
I honestly think the only way to make this better would be to do like they did with that Omega Race thing with the extra button.
Yes.
Wow. To me, it seems reasonable to shrink 3 doors down to 1 door. Like, that to me is a reasonable concession to make. Yeah. But dog versus door, that's a tougher one.
No, of course.
I wonder if that could be hacked.
Oh. No, there's probably people who are smart enough to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That'd be kind of cool. Well, of course, what would really be cool is if Champ Games would team up with Aladdin controllers. Aladdin could make a custom Atari controller with the 4 buttons and the joystick, and then Champ Games could code a game, the arcade version, and you just use 2 joystick ports on the back of your Atari for the special controller. Have a little bundle deal.
Oh yeah. It's definitely true. I mean, you can probably. I mean, there's like a set of homebrews that have a 2-button wiring, right, on the Atari.
What do you mean? You mean that besides Omega Race?
Yeah, I thought there was some homebrews that had
I don't know that. I'm not sure.
I thought there was like a 2-button spec for Atari 2600. Certain types of homebrews would have a 2-button control scheme, and they all kind of agreed on a certain wiring, so they could all have to have a joystick per game, for Pete's sake. But you could set this up. I thought that was the case, but I'm not the expert in the Atari for sure.
Yeah, I'm not either.
But he did stay at a Holiday Inn last night.
I play a one on TV.
So now let's talk about the Intellivision version, Mr. Rick.
Oh, you guys have been waiting, I'm sure.
Yes, with bated breath.
Oh, dear goodness. Okay. So, the controls are not great.
They suck.
Really. Please, I'm the Intellivision guy. I had a super hard time controlling the mouse and the dog moving around. I was constantly overshooting corridors. I had a super hard. And I'm an Intellivision guy. Like I feel like I'm pretty adept at using that controller. So I don't want to blame this on the controller. There are people who have this bias against the Intellivision controller for maze games, and it's just not there. The Intellivision ports of Pac-Man, and it can be done well. It's not done well here. No. It's not done well here. It's terrible. The controls were causing me to miss corridors all over the place. It has the inn, and when you go into the inn, you slowly, gracefully take your time heading over to the corner. I don't know what that's about, because in the arcade game, it's like zip, you're at the corner, And
so you don't see yourself going to the corner either. You just appear there instead of floating over the maze.
Yeah. There's this weird, disembodied kind of feeling when you hit the inn and you hit to the corners. So that's a little strange, but that wouldn't be a big deal, I don't think, overall. It does seem to stop you at 8 bones instead of 4. In terms of banking them. I'm not sure if you could bank more than 8. Like if you get to 9 and 10 and it's only showing you 8. I really wasn't sure, because just jump ahead. I couldn't play this game very long. So I now have to circle back and get to the point that everybody's waiting for me to talk about, which is the sound. Okay, so this sound in this game is awful. It is. I think they hired they pulled the guy in who did the sound for Carnival, and they said, "Can you do the sound on Mousetrap, please? That'd be awesome. We loved what you did over there." Because this is awful. What's weird is that it's loud and grating. This tune, it's the background tune that's playing in the maze, and the problem is that when any other sound effect happens, that tune stops for the split second for the other sound, and then it comes back in again. And the problem is the sound effects are at a different volume. They're like a lot lower, frankly, a lot more pleasant. And it's like, it's just this grating, da-da-da-da, coming at you, and then click, da-da-da-da. It's just back and forth. It is so frustrating. And unlike Carnival, there's no in-game feature to turn that off. You have to just kind of...
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, there is.
Oh, did I miss something that would...
There's a button. There's a button on the keypad you push to turn the sound off. However, when you go to another level, it comes right back.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't stay turned off.
Oh, dear goodness. So, well, I mean, that's like Carnival too, right? You have to keep shooting.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. It is game-breaking, the sound on this thing. It is so frustratingly bad. But in my mind, while the sound will make you go insane, and Willie said, turn off the sound and play some music or something while you're playing, the gameplay itself is bad. It's super hard to control the mouse with as he moves around, and it has the problem that Intellivision games have, where you're using a disc and keypad presses at the same time. Now, it would be really hard to get around this for this game. This game has too many buttons for these home consoles, which is something I mentioned at the top of the show. So you're going to use the keypad. But in Intellivision games, you cannot be pressing the disc and the keypad and press a keypad button at the same time and have it get to the system properly. That's just the way the controller's wired. So you're in this run and gun. Not run and gun. You're not gunning, but you're running.
We need a gun.
Yeah.
Shoot ourselves.
This gun is for something else. You don't want to. But like it's run and eats as you're moving around this maze, and you have to stop and open the button. You hit the button to open a door. I mean, that's just how it's going to be with this controller. So, it's frustrating. When we talk about our high, the scores we had for it, I actually quit this game and didn't finish because I just couldn't take it anymore. Like I couldn't.
What?
I got a score and I said I'm out. So, this game's frustrating.
So you didn't finish your game for the high score?
I got a score. I wrote it down. I had 9 lives left to go, and I said I'm out. We actually should mention this game does have the Hawk, but it's only in skill levels 2, 3, and 4. So
2, 3, and 4. Okay.
Yeah. So if you started at skill level 1, which is where I'm assuming that we're doing our score comparisons and stuff like that, you won't see the Hawk. I played it on skill 2 just to try it out and see what the Hawk is. He moves pretty slow. If I recall, he was a bigger threat in the arcade for sure. Maybe he's harder in levels 3 and 4. But yeah, he I don't know, the Hawk seemed... Like, I was always pretty afraid of the Hawk in the arcade, like, because he was swooping in, and he was moving on the diagonals, and how am I going to get out of his way? I didn't have too much trouble avoiding the Hawk in the Intellivision version. He was just kind of meandering around a little bit. But again, that was skill 2. Maybe he's harder at 3 and 4, I don't know.
I played him in 3, and it seemed like he followed the maze more than he did in the arcade and ColecoVision version.
I saw him one time. For me, he was flying directly vertically up the screen on the right edge.
Yeah.
And then he'd make a curve, diagonally through that was kind of over the maze a little bit more. But then he'd move up again or something. I feel like the arcade machine, as I recall, was really biased towards diagonals. Like he was just really hard to know where the Hawk was going to go next.
Yeah.
I felt like in the Intellivision version anyway, he would. Go diagonal a little bit, then go back to the horizontal, vertical maze. He just kind of was whatever. So, that's my impression.
I'm just amazed I knew about the sound being turned off, and the television guy didn't know about it.
This is one of those cases where I flipped through the manual, kind of learned what I needed to learn, and started playing, and thought, oh dear God, it's another one of these Coleco sound debacles. I'm just going to have to live with it. So.
Yeah, that sound, it was very grating. Like I said, I had to turn the sound off and listen to other music while I played the game, just so I could get a score set on it.
Hey, there was I did like the sound when you eat a cat. It had that kind of a, I thought the Intellivision did a decent job of mimicking that, but the rest of it wasn't very good.
Yeah, well, if the sound turned off, the game sounds okay if the sound turned off. I mean, the music turned off. I mean.
Oh, okay. So you're saying the other sound effects are there.
Yeah. I meant just the sound effects, not the music.
Well, yeah, I turned the sound off, too, with a volume button. That sound effect.
It's just too bad it wouldn't latch the music off instead of keep coming back like it did. But, the gameplay of it is not too bad. The biggest problem I have playing this game is trying to coordinate my fingers for the 1, 2, and 3 keys while I'm trying to control the mouse. I try setting the Intellivision controller flat on my tabletop and use, my 2 hands on it. That didn't work too good. I had a heck of a time trying to play this game, and it was getting really frustrating, like you were saying, trying to get around the corners. I kept overshooting the corridors quite a bit, dying a lot. But, the one nice thing, though, playing the level 1 game, skill level 1, I could actually play the game for quite a while. I kept getting extra mice constantly. I think I got a pretty decent score. I think. I don't know, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But, at least I was able to play it for a while. Well, what did you think of the gameplay and sound, Ferg?
Well, the sound sucks, of course.
Yeah. That's a given now, man.
I had so many problems with the controls, like you guys were saying. I would go through this one corridor just back and forth, trying to get to another corridor, and I couldn't get into it, then I would die. So I eventually just went square by square so I would be able to go around corners and stuff. And the one thing that really confused me, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there are blue lines that aren't doors that confused the hell out of me because I thought they were doors. I kept pressing the button and they wouldn't open. And I was like, why aren't these doors opening? And they're only blue on one side of the green maze, and I couldn't understand why they were there.
What?
I played it on what's it called? The cart, the multi-cart.
The LTO.
The LTO?
Yeah, the LTO flash. And I saw these little blue lines on it. I mean, they're not in the picture that I posted in the notes, but it was very strange.
Where were they in reference to the picture on the notes?
Let's see. Go back to the picture.
My curiosity is intrigued.
Yeah, there was that one up in the top right corner, the one line that's sticking down, there was blue on one side.
Huh.
Am I thinking of the right one? I think I am.
I didn't notice that. So you can see it in the screenshot that we're looking at that has the kind of an L-shaped red area in front of the bottom cat.
Yes.
That there was a wall there that was colored red for no reason that I could tell, and it didn't open. It was next to the red door.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know what that was about, but I don't recall seeing the blue that you're describing for.
Wow. Maybe I saw it in one. I thought it was the Intellivision one. I could not wait for it to be over, though, because I kept getting extra mice. And I was like, why isn't this over yet?
That was me, too.
Same here.
And just another point, Willie, you're talking about having trouble trying to hold the controller and press the buttons. So if you're playing with an Intellivision 1 or a Sears where the controllers have the little bubble kind of keypad, you can feel that to a degree, and as an Intellivision player, I'm used to that, so that wasn't so bad for me. But there are, if you have an Intellivision 2, or if you have some of the Super Pro systems or the System 3 systems, they have other versions of the controllers that are flat, and you won't get that tactile feedback on your thumb, and that would be even worse for what you're describing.
That's what I was playing on my System 3.
Okay, does it lock the buttons, the bubbles?
Yeah, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's a tough controller for this game for sure.
I don't remember.
When I was holding the controller, I held the bottom part with my left hand and then the top part with my right, so I could kind of put my thumb on the 3 buttons. But it was kind of awkward because I stuck the Coleco overlay into the top, so it was sticking out, so I know which color was which.
Yeah.
I had trouble with the buttons on this.
Ingenuity there.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about the Colecovision gameplay and sound. Now, sound, don't think it was too bad. At least it had a music tune to it, which was nice. The sound effects are really good on this version. The gameplay is not too bad. I still have the problem of trying to coordinate opening doors with the mouse. I did find, though, instead of using the standard ColecoVision controller, I used my Ed Ladin Super CV controller. And that was a little bit easier for me because I keep my right hand on the 3 keys for the doors and use my other hand to control the joystick. It was almost like playing in the arcade. Doing it that way. So I was able to play the game fairly well using that controller. Now, what would really been cool is if they were able to make this to work with the Super Action controller, where you had the 4 different buttons to control the doors, and then the extra button at the bottom to make you turn into a dog.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would have been a great version of the game to have to use the Super Action controllers.
I tried that, and it did not work.
I did too, because the first thing that popped in my mind is like, dude, those colors look like the Super Action controller. I wonder if it works. Nope, it don't work. I'm dead.
Oh, man.
But, gameplay-wise, it plays fairly well. I didn't really have any problem getting around the maze on this. The only problem I really had with it is knowing when to open the doors, and hitting the wrong frickin' button and opening the wrong door up is my biggest problem.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it, Rick?
So yeah, this version is the first one. I said it before. This is the first one that looked like Mousetrap. This is the first one that played like Mousetrap for me. I was playing this and I'm like, okay, this is feeling like what I remember from the arcade, if you will. Like, this just feels like the game. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it looks good. I thought it sounds good. There's a ton of authenticity, if you will, in terms of how it feels and looks. I had the same note about the Ed Ladin controller. Unfortunately, my Ed Ladin needs some repair, and I just haven't bothered to open it up and see what's going on with it there. But this would be a great one for that, because you have the pad right there. You can use 2 hands, one on the stick, one on the pad, the control pad there for the buttons. That would be the way you'd want to play this game for sure. Because the way I normally play most ColecoVision games is I have like a Y adapter on the DB9, and I put a more powerful style joystick, and then I put it in parallel with the regular Coleco controller. So, because usually you're hitting like 1 enter as you're starting the game or whatever, and you don't need the keypad. Well, that's not going to work here. Like you've got to have access to that keypad while you're playing. So the Ed Ladin controller is really what we want here, or like you said, Will, if they hack this or something like that to get to work with the Super Action controller, that'd be pretty sweet. I ended up playing. I thought I wasn't going to have a controller that would play this game outside of the original controller, but I did end up. Some time ago I picked up something called a Joy Sensor controller for the ColecoVision.
I've got one of those. Yes.
It's like a big fat Intellivision controller. It's got like a thumb disc at the bottom. It's not as good as an Intellivision controller with the disc, but that's what I played this with. And given my history with Intellivision, I just had to adjust a little bit. The disc is wider than it needs to be for, as you're playing it, at least what I'm used to with the Intellivision. Anyway. And I played this game a lot with that Joy Sensor and did a pretty good job. And so that worked well for me. In terms of the gameplay elements, like I said, they're all pretty much there. This one, I didn't mention it with the Intellivision. The Intellivision has the same problem the Atari has, where you're definitely moving from square to square around the field, around the maze. The Coleco version gives you half square resolution, if you will. You can move your mouse, and it'll be halfway between 2 positions, if you want to think of it that way, in the grid. Which gives you a little more. It gives you a little more ability to turn around quickly and to fake out the cats and things like that. So that was a very welcome upgrade, if you will, to the other 2. I really like that. In terms of the bones thing, I've been talking about the bones in each of these games. This one only shows 5 bones, and if you keep eating more bones, it doesn't show anymore. But you actually have more.
Yep.
So, like I filled up the 5 bones. And I'm eating more, and I noticed when I hit the dog button, it doesn't decrease the 5. Like so it's pulling off the ones that are in reserve, that aren't being displayed or whatever. So that's great. You can really bank up a lot of bones in this game. And I found this is the version. So this version has the prizes. It has all the stuff. And this is the version that I had enough good control, because I couldn't control the Intellivision version. This version has enough control that I found the strategy, at least on the easiest level, level 1. The strategy for really banking a high score here is stay in every maze until you get all the prizes. Just don't complete the maze. Just keep going prize. So what you start doing is just going prize, and you're eating the cheese wedges kind of incidentally. And I did have a board where I ate every one of the prizes. And unlike the description of the arcade, they don't start over. You're just out of prizes on the Coleco.
That's wow. It. No more for you.
So it's like, okay, that's your cue to move on to the next board then. But the only issue with that, of course, is if you end up needing to use a lot of dog bones as you're moving around, you have to clear the board to get more bones. So that would mitigate that strategy a little bit too. But that's a way, I think, to really drive the scores up on the ColecoVision. It would work on the Intellivision too, except you can't control it. So you can't really take advantage of it. So
yeah, that's true. I just had this thought, dude. You said you got to repair your Super CV controller.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we ought to install a switch on ours, and we can make it so we flip the switch, we can remap the 1, 2, and 3 keys to the 3 action buttons.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Into doors, and the 4th button into the 5 key to make it the dog button.
Yeah, I don't know how complex that would be in terms of the way I don't know how the ColecoVision scans that matrix to know, but yeah, that'd be sweet.
You just flip the switch and it rewires itself.
Sure.
No big deal, man. Man, come on. No, man. I think it'll work just fine.
Well, all right, Willie. I like it.
I think Ed's got a new version of the Super CV coming out where you actually will use overlays, the original overlays, on the keypad. I know on the one he's working on for the 5200 will allow you to use the original overlays with it.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures. Looks good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, Mr. Ferg.
This was, well, I'll say at the end, but I really enjoyed playing this version, even though I don't like the game that much to begin with. My Coleco joysticks are kind of broken, but this was a lot easier to control than the Intellivision version was with a working joystick. It looks like the arcade game, like Rick was saying. Like, the sound is great. I like how the background theme changes after you complete a few mazes. That was really cool. I wasn't expecting that. And I also wrote down, like you said, Willie, that at the beginning of each stage, the mouse does look like Winky going up the stairs or down the stairs or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just a lot easier to control, going around corners and stuff. And I didn't realize what you said, Rick, that you could get all the prizes in one maze. I didn't realize that. I thought it kept going through different mazes. I didn't realize that was a points pressing thing, which I did not take advantage of, unfortunately.
Well, neither did I. Don't feel bad.
Okay.
I'm not devious like Rick.
But yeah, like I said, it's not my favorite game in the world, but I'm glad I was able to play this version of it.
Awesome. So, out of the 3 versions, which one do you enjoy playing the most? We'll start with Rick.
I was going to say, do we need to have this part of the conversation?
Yeah.
Clearly, the ColecoVision wins, hands down for me.
Ferg?
Yeah, Coleco.
Yeah, Coleco. Yeah. 3 for 3. So now let's talk about scores.
All right.
I still got to post mine. I took pictures, but it got too late for me to post them, but I got them written down. So, Ferg, we'll start with you on the Atari.
I got a 918.
Awesome. What about you, Mr. Rick?
1,874.
Ooh, you bastard. I got 1,069.
Nice.
Number 2, as always. Okay, Rick, on the Intellivision, what'd you get?
143,000.
Jesus.
How about you, Ferg? What'd you get?
I got 48,300.
Yeah. I got 169,500.
Whoa.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, for the Coleco, I got 243,680. Rick?
481,300.
Holy cow! Now, isn't that kind of odd that the Coleco guy gets a better score on the Intellivision, and the Intellivision guy, there's something wrong, man. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. What'd you get, Ferg?
74,200.
Not too bad. We've got some pretty decent scores there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what game are we going to cover next time? I don't see the list over here.
I got it up here. Let's see. We have Donkey Kong Jr., We did Mousetrap. Pitfall. That's it. And the homebrews. Let's see, we have Boulder Dash, which I don't have for the 2600. I don't think you can get it anymore.
For the 2600, you get the ROM.
I don't know.
Really?
If you can. Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Cosmic Avenger. I don't think there's a prototype for that for the 2600, actually.
No.
Jungle Hunt. We did Ladybug, Moonsweeper, Omega Race, and Wizard of War.
And then, of course, the other possibilities of
Sports.
Sports ball.
Billiards.
Billiards. Oh, yeah.
And chess. Everybody's favorite chess.
Yeah. Well, chess made a big thing last year because of Queen's Gambit. So
Queen's Gambit, awesome.
Yeah, it was very good.
I watched it and I just finished the book. It's super cool.
I forgot that there was a Wizard of War homebrew for the. I've got it too. The Intellivision and the Atari. I mean, the Colecovision. Huh. Oh, so what do you think, Rick? What game? Think about just do Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah, why not?
Get down out of the way.
I actually feel pretty good about filling out the originals, if you will, the stuff that came out in the day before we dig into the too heavily into the homebrews.
Yeah,
I mean, we did Ladybug already, but we can.
Well, it'll give more time to try to figure out what more we can do as well to make the list get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
To pull off of. Did we ever do Turbo? I can't remember.
I don't think so. No, it's not on the list.
Let's see there we go.
Is it missing on it? It's available.
Well, it didn't come out for the 2600. There's a really terrible prototype, though.
Well,
I know.
Why should that stop us?
Well, put that down on the homebrew list. Homebrews and prototypes that are shared on the three systems.
I feel like Turbo is just going to be a layup again for the ColecoVision because I haven't. I haven't played it much, but I know that in the Intellivision circles, the game was nicknamed Turdo. So
Advantage Willie. Okay, so we're going to do Donkey Kong Jr. for the next episode.
All right.
What was that?
The 2600 version.
So until next time, everyone, thanks for listening. You want to say goodbye, guys?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Every time I got to remind you people.
It sounds like the end of your videos on your channel. I just figured you're done.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to say goodbye, too. You're on the show.
The fun is back. It's the closest thing to the real thing.
Because your vision is our vision.
No other video game stacks up to Atari.
Atari left me rather flat.
Sorry, Atari. I play on ColecoVision.
Nobody's hotter than Atari this summer.
The arcade quality game system, ColecoVision.
Have you played Atari today?
I have played Atari today. That's why I play Intellivision.
The best game in town just got better. ColecoVision.
I'll try almost anything.
Why did you buy Atari? Why are you doing that? Why? Please don't do that again.
Intellivision is so good, Coleco copied half their name.
The Atari video computer system. More games, more fun.
No other company offers you as many different video game cartridges as Atari.
I played on ColecoVision. I played on ColecoVision. Mattel's M-Network and Imagine. We played on ColecoVision.
Intellivision from Mattel Electronics. In my opinion, if you try them both, there's only one conclusion you can come to.
More games, more fun.